Yes, people. What's going on? It's Sakiti G on EGTV, and we're back again with another video. Today, we got a special video. If you're watching, this is kind of like a little breakdown of Youri Tielemans and the links that he's currently linked to Arsenal. So I decided to get a Leicester fan on, and we got Ants on to break it down, what Tielemans would offer Arsenal, what Tielemans could offer Arsenal, and what Tielemans could bring if he did end up moving. And if possibly he doesn't end up coming to Arsenal, what he could offer for any other club that was interested in Youri Tielemans. So let's break it down. Ants, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. We've been talking sort of in your chat for a while about Tielemans potentially going to Arsenal. It's one of those that's dragged on and on and on. So I'm half just glad for this summary. Like, as much as I love him as a player, if he doesn't want to be at Leicester, move on. Like, these transfer links are boring me now.
Yeah. Just so we can get this out of the way first. The title of the video is that Fabrizio Romano has confirmed something. So I'm going to show you what Fabrizio Romano said, just so you guys know this is not clickbait. He literally did say something before the video went live. And let me know, guys. I'm going to put a poll out for you guys to tell me if you would take Tielemans or not. But this is what Fabrizio Romano has said. Arsenal are still interested in Tielemans. The plan has not changed. He is a target for the midfield, but it's not any imminent deal as negotiated yet. It will take some time. Reportedly, it could take until after he comes back from international breaks, as been reported. And 2 other clubs are reportedly after him. One of those clubs might be Tottenham. But yeah, just before we go any further, guys, just to let you know, the man sitting to the right of me or to the left, whichever way it is on your screen, is Ants. And if you want to check out his YouTube channel, the link is in the description. Do me a favor. The support to this channel over the last couple months has been great. I just need you guys to do me more of a favor. Hit that like button and also vote in the poll. But Ant, give me a situation. Let me know what has happened to Tielemans, because his reputation has taken a big hit since scoring the goal against Chelsea in that cup final. It's just gone downhill. What happened to him?
So it's one of those, like, last 2 years, like if you take away last season, the 2 years before that, he's been absolutely brilliant for us. Probably one of the key players for us, sort of climbing up the league, challenging for Champions League, winning the FA Cup. He was an integral part of that. This season, he's been asked to do a job, but isn't his job. He's had to play as a 6 when he's naturally an 8 with a makeshift defence behind him. And as much as I do like him as a player, Papi Mendy, who's not really good enough for, like, alongside him. So he's doing a job that's not his own. And then I think, like, obviously you're always going to struggle with that, with like no sort of settled team around you and no defence. I do think as well, a lot of the frustration from Leicester fans has come about the fact that we, like, in hindsight, a lot of us think that we should have sold him last summer. But it's like, the risk was we didn't sell him and we had a real push for top 4 this year, and it would have been worth the risk. But the injuries and just not having the best of season has meant that that's sort of backfired in us. So it's one of those, but like, if he was going to sign a contract and stay, great. But we've known since about November he's not going to. So it's about now just getting the highest fee for him and moving him on.
Are you concerned that you could lose him on a free if he doesn't move this window?
We won't let that happen. He will be gone no matter what. Like, this window, it's very rare that we let a player get into this situation with 1 year left. Like, I cannot remember the last time we let a player walk away for free of any value.
So you just don't let that ever happen. Like, this is a well-run club. What is it about Leicester's recruitment? Because you guys constantly get these players under the radar. You constantly get good players under the radar, and it's like, has your recruitment been spotless? Because I know just a year ago we were talking about how everyone needs to copy Leicester's recruitment model.
The thing is, like, our recruitment hasn't been like perfect, and I think no club is. But we sort of, and this is Rob Tanner from the Athletic guy for Leicester, has put it perfectly. We shop in a different market than the teams that we're trying to compete against. Because, for example, imagine if for Arsenal you guys signed a left back who'd just come from Luton in League One. Your fans wouldn't be happy with that, would you? Sort of thing.
No.
You'd be like, who is that? Like for us, we can get away with that. We did that with James Justin, and now he's just got an England call up and it's been very, very solid for us. So like a lot of our recruitment has been brilliant. Obviously, you look at Ricardo Pereira, Wes Fofana, Ndidi, like the list goes on. But like every team though, we haven't got it perfect. Look at Vestergaard, look at Ryan Bertrand. So it's like I'd say about 80% of them have been on target. But of course, we're going to have the couple that don't work out.
No, I hear that completely. Okay, so let's get back to Tielemans. How old is Tielemans again? He's 23, 22?
24, 25, is he? I don't know, actually.
He's 24 years old. How much did you guys pay for him when you first got him?
36 million. Club
36
record signing.
36 million. So how much is it that is rumored price to buy him for? Because 25 million does seem cheap. Do you think he'll actually go for 25 million?
Not if there's 3 clubs interested, like Fabrizio is reporting. I think it'll be around 30, 35. I don't think there'll be a huge sort of amount of difference, but it's like anything, it's supply and demand. If there's more demand for something, you can sort of bump that price up slightly higher.
Okay. I personally think the 25 million pound deal is too good of a deal for us to turn down. But if it is higher and it's a little bit like in the 40 to 50, then maybe I'll be a little bit reluctant. Is he now the question everybody has about Tielemans is he a defensive liability? That's my question I have.
He's a defensive liability if you play him by himself as that 6, but if you play him next to a 6 like we did with Ndidi, who I'll argue with anyone who is the best sort of ball-winning midfielder like in the league in terms of just purely winning the ball. I know Fabinho and everyone will say Fabinho and Rodri, they're probably better actual defensive midfielders because they can progress the ball much more. But in terms of someone who can purely win the ball back, like Tielemans playing next to Ndidi, it sort of meant Tielemans didn't have to do as much of the donkey work of working back. So if you've got that player that he can play alongside him that will help him track back, then yeah, he's fine. But if you're solely reliant on him, then yeah, it won't end well.
Okay. Now this is my question about Tielemans. We have Granit Xhaka, who is not that mobile. Would you say Tielemans is very mobile?
He's not very mobile, but I'd say he's a lot more mobile than Granit Xhaka.
Okay. Press resistant. Is he press resistant?
Yeah.
Extremely press resistant. Okay. Now, technical ability, we know he's up there. Passing range, we know he's up there. Everything else, we know what he's up there. My question to you is, if you were to say hypothetically Tielemans was to leave, how would you guys replace him? Because this is the thing. This is the thing that we find. We don't usually get players done over the line at Arsenal unless the team that we're buying them from gets a replacement. So do you guys have a replacement lined up?
Well, we've got Dewsbury Hall, who's broken through a lot like this year and has had a really good season. I think he'll take part of that. And then also a player that you've been linked to for about the last 3 years, Hassan Mawar, we've been heavily linked to and apparently monitoring and looking at his situation because it sounds too good to be true, but apparently he's available for as low as 15 million.
12
So
million.
12 million. So the thing is, I've got faith in the fact if we sell a player, we'll replace them. Like it's like when you look at Maguire went, we brought in Ciuncu and Fofana. Chilwell went, brought in Castagne and Justin. So I've got faith in our recruitment to bring in players that will be able to fill that gap. It's like it could well be someone that we've never heard of and comes in and might take a year or so to settle. But like I think the most likely is probably Hassan Mawar and then Dewsbury Hall as well, having a bit more of a key role next season.
Now, just looking at Tielemans and looking at his season, he hasn't had many injuries with you guys. He's been very good with his injury record. Like he's never had any real issues with injuries. Am I mistaken?
No, I don't think he. I think there's been a couple of periods where he's missed like 2 or 3 games here or there, but I think particularly at the back end of this season, like he looked like he'd been absolutely run into the ground. Like, and he played pretty much every game. This, I'd say, it's a similar thing to Saka. Like when you play every single game, like you don't have someone you can rotate with, eventually your levels will drop.
Okay. What position would you say is his best position? Would it be that DM role in would it be that register role? Would it be the 8? What would you say is his best position? Because this is another thing. And yeah, let me just see what people are saying. George is in the big up my guys. Uh yo, appreciate it. How are you? Thunder Road saying you're a mod here. I see you on Arsenal Circle. Yeah, he's everywhere, bro. He's everywhere. Gummy Bear Club TV. What? I don't even know what that means. Anyways, if Arsenal really want him, they need to go straight in and offer 35 million off the jump. I think that might be accurate. I think in order to get the deal done, how much do you think Leicester actually want for him? Because 25 million does seem too cheap. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
If we
it's
come
one.
in for a 25 million pound bid, do you think you guys would accept it?
It's one of those I do if the structure's right. And what I mean by that is like with Maguire, I know I keep referencing that. With Maguire, we lowered the price slightly to get that 80 million in one lump sum, same as the Chilwell, where we got that in one lump sum instead of in installments. So if it's one lump sum of 25 million, it wouldn't surprise me if we did accept that. But if it's across installments, we'll probably ask for more. So like he's like I think the thing that you, particularly for you guys, is if you seriously do want him, as it said, you've got to do it early because when there's other teams hovering around, you can't sort of hang about and hope that they don't come in for him.
Leicester got Tielemans on a swap deal, and 35 million is too much for Tielemans. What?
We didn't get him on the swap deal. We got him on loan and then brought him.
Yeah, they paid like a record fee for him. Am I not wrong at the time?
Yeah, 30. It was like 35 million, but we got him on loan from in January till the end of the season. Then brought him on.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's how we managed to get him because he wasn't playing at all, and I think I can't remember who the manager was, and he was having like just absolutely no luck in there. He wanted to move on, gave him the opportunity on loan, absolutely smashed it, and then signed him from there. So that's one of those things. Is I said earlier, we shop in a different market, sort of thing. Like a lot of people won't look at a player that's struggling on the bench at Monaco who can't really get a look in, but it's like a calculated risk with those kind of players.
Yeah. People in the chat, ask away any questions you need to know about Tielemans. We got a Leicester fan here, so we actually have somebody who watches him week in, week out, and can give us a more fair and balanced opinion on the player. Now, people ask about his body type and his physical fitness. Is he somebody we have to worry about his physical fitness? Because he's not in the best shape when it comes to like athletes. You usually think of somebody chiseled and like ready to go to battle, but he's a little bit more of like comfortable. Like he's not somebody who's very much like cut. You don't think he's going to be like somebody who's in the gym 24/7, but he's still a professional and he still gets around and he does his thing. But is that an issue? Do you think that's an issue?
No, not at all. And I know a lot of people. There's 2 clips that you see of him. That one against West Ham with Declan Rice, which that does make him look absolutely awful. But that was sort of right at the end of the game as a one-off. And then also, I can't even remember who the second one was. But like you look at his numbers towards the back end of this season, they have decreased massively in terms of his sort of distance covered and all of that. But like that's to be expected when you've played pretty much every game of the season, also for internationals as well. Like it's to be expected. So I don't think he's like that sort of engine room player that's going to run absolutely everywhere and stuff. But it's nowhere near as bad as people make it out to be on social media. You know better than anyone, Agal. Like social media it's always at the extreme.
Yeah, 100%. I was gonna just ask you, who do you think he compares to?
don't know. I really don't know. That's I don't know. That's such a difficult question, really. There was a lot of comparisons to Thiago from Liverpool, but I don't agree with them
I
really.
can tell.
Yeah, there was a lot like when he was linked to Liverpool. I don't sort of see him as that kind of player, but sort of I see like the on the ball side of it, what they mean. But I really like George. I think George's here in the chat, so he'll probably be able to give you a name. But I can't really think off the top of my head of one player is that he's sort of similar to because he's so unique in what he is.
Okay. So do you feel like NDD does do a lot of the legwork, and if we don't have a natural DM, we're gonna struggle with him in the team?
Yeah. I'd say, but Partey as well, because I'd imagine it would be Partey and Tielemans together in your like strongest team.
Yeah.
Partey does a lot of that leg work that Ndidi does, but
Okay.
then Partey's also sort of good going forward as well.
Okay. So you're saying Partey could basically ease the pressure off him. But the thing is, Partey's being asked to play a lot more deeper, obviously, with Granit Xhaka. But maybe in the future we could use both of them as eights. We might need another DM. I do think we might need another DM because I rate Partey, but I think his capabilities to go forward could be useful to us, and we might need to get another DM. But yeah, I completely see where you're coming from. Let's just see what anybody else is saying in the chat. Tielemans is a baller. He's just overused. Do you think that might be an issue? He's being played too much, and you don't have much rotation at Leicester, and that's why he's kind of burnt out.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's been overused and played out of position. So it's like when you look at our midfield depth. So we've got Dewsbury Hall there and Hamza Chowdhury, who we haven't seen since I think early December, because I believe there's been sort of like some disagreement with Brendan Rodgers and some argument. Mendy, who again probably championship standard at best. So it's almost like we've been forced to play him because we've got no one else.
You say he's championship standard, Mendy?
Yeah, he's one of those. He's a cult hero, but he is not very good at he's not good enough to be. Actually, championship's probably harsh. I'd say sort of bottom 5 of the Premier League, sort of that level.
Okay, I understand. Let's just move on to this ridiculous claim of a possible swap deal for Tielemans and Saliba. I don't think there's no truth to this at all. L'Equipe are not the most reliable source. Of course, a lot of these French sources are all over the place. But at the end of the day, Arsenal are going to keep Bukayo Saka, and they're going to keep William Saliba. They're going to keep all the youngsters. We have a plan with these guys, but there's this ridiculous report for a potential swap deal with Tielemans and Saliba. I don't think this could ever happen in a million years.
My thing is, I don't think it would happen, but I'm glad that, and I've seen it from a fair few reliable people as well, that I'm just glad at least we're testing the waters to see sort of what's sort of there. Because, one of those where if he, say, for example, he doesn't sign this contract at Arsenal that a lot of you are depending on him doing, and he does have to go, otherwise he gets into that latter stages of his contract. It's one of those that you look at and think,
Still has 2 years left.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want it to get to that last year. And
Yeah,
so it's one of those, like, I don't think it will happen, but I'm also glad we're testing the waters to see sort of what the possibilities are. Because it's like, do you know what I mean? If we don't have a go and then, like, it could happen, like, it probably won't, but it'll be one of those that you look at in, like, a couple of years' time and say, we really should have gone harder for that one.
My concerns with Tielemans is that he hasn't played Champions League football, and to come to Arsenal would be a step up from Leicester. So what makes him want to take that if he's not? What if he thinks he's Champions League material? Do you think he would maybe look at Arsenal as a sideways move and not really a step up at this moment in time?
There's a couple of things with that. He has played Champions League with Anderlecht and with Monaco, but the thing with it, I wouldn't say in terms of size of club, because I think like there's like no arguing that Arsenal are a bigger club than Leicester. Like I think no Leicester fan's going to sort of argue with that. I think the fact that they're two clubs that are both aiming to go in the same direction and both sort of have that next goal of getting back into the Champions League. The thing that really is going to sting if he goes to Arsenal is he said that he's only going to move. He turned down a contract offer from Leicester when we finished 5th and won the FA Cup, and he said he only wants to go to a Champions League club. So that one would be it would be a hard pill to swallow in that sense. But in terms of like a footballing sense of the size of the club as Arsenal is, and that of course Arsenal are a bigger club.
Okay. When it comes to Tielemans, is there anything that we don't see when because a lot of fans just watch the game, but when it comes to you watch him week in week out, what's his weaknesses and what's his strengths?
Something that's massively underrated about him is his leadership and his ability to pick a team up when they're in like difficult moments. And like, I know he's only 25, but he's incredibly experienced for 25, and like he's one of the leaders within our team, and he has been for a couple of years. So that'll be something that I think, particularly with your squad at Arsenal, if he is to go there, that'll be a benefit of having another vocal voice in that midfield, particularly with the young players that you have. So I think that's something that will help you guys massively if he does go there. I think the weakness for him is that he can go like missing massively in games, like, and that sometimes games can pass him by to an extent. Like that would be my biggest concern if I was an Arsenal fan.
Guys, any questions in the comment section? Let me know. Is there anything that you wanted to speak about, like what happened this season in general with Leicester, and could you put a lot of blame on him as an individual on how you guys have had a poor season, or he's faultless in this situation?
No player's faultless. Like he hasn't hit the levels that he was before, but he's the smallest of the problems this year. I think we've had so many injuries. Like we had a worse injury crisis this year than what Liverpool had last year, but because of who and what we are, it doesn't get reported to that level. I think we've had over 30 injuries this season. Our best centre back breaking his leg in pre-season before the season even started. James Justin missing over 20 games. Same for Johnny Evans. Castagne missing a lot of the season because of, in the World Cup, he had hit the bang to the side of his head. Vardy missing huge amounts of the season. So injuries have made a huge difference into where we like us finishing 8th this year. Also, the fact Brendan Rodgers needs to take a big piece of responsibility for this. The fact he's now at Leicester, this will be his 4th season at Leicester, and he still hasn't addressed the set pieces. I think that's one of the biggest things like for us is I think we've conceded 20 goals from corners this year in the Premier League. So that I'd say that's probably the biggest reason, along with the injuries.
Okay. Tielemans is not going to Arsenal. When people say stuff like Tielemans wouldn't make the step down, Leicester are in a position where they have to sell. Don't you agree?
I do. I find it funny though, because I've been watching you for the last year. You got so wound up, didn't you, by those comments of Maddison last year saying it's a step down? But no, we are in a position, but like we could let him run down his contract because we're not like a poor club at all. We've got a lot of money behind us, but I think we're too well run to let that happen.
Okay, and finally, just how is he better suited to you guys when you're in the transition, or is he better suited when the game's in front of him? Because I don't really see him driving the game forward. Like he did score a beautiful goal against us, but you ended up losing that game like 3-1, was it? Remember the opening goal in the 3-1 defeat away last year? You guys, 3-1 win that we had last year. I think he did a really good job in transition, pushing the play forward, keeping it going. But when I watch Tielemans, to me, he's more of like this guy who just gets the ball, passes it, keeps it ticking, and is never really the guy who's driving the game forward. Would you say if we're going to be using in that 8, we need somebody else to maybe drive the game forward so he can just sit back and dictate play?
Yeah, because that's what Partey would do, isn't it? He would drive it. He drives it forward a lot more than.
No, but Partey would be asked to be the deeper out of the two.
Yeah, Tielemans is one of those players. He's like he can he can find a pass through like the eye of the needle sort of thing and unlock a defense when they're sitting deep and in a low block. So, and I think you guys have come up against that quite a lot this year, where you've struggled to break down some teams sitting deep. So, I think for those kind of games, he will be very, very valuable for you. And also when teams are sitting deep, he's got that ability just to like put one top bins as they keep sitting further and further back. So I do think that's something that's been underrated about him, is his ability just to sort of like fire a long shot in.
Would he improve Arsenal?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and where would he fit in? Because we've spoken about all this, I still question if he would improve us head over heels. Like, is he that big of a step up from Granit Xhaka?
Yeah, I'd say he's a big step up from Granit Xhaka, but it depends then sort of how far you want to go. Because I'm not delusional. I'm aware there is better players out there than Tielemans, but at the same time, does Arsenal have that pull at the moment to go and get those better players? I think missing out on Champions League football, and trust me, I felt this as much as you guys have as a Leicester fan, because we went from pretty much having Robin Gosens confirmed coming to Leicester to getting Ryan Bertrand. So missing out on Champions League football, it does have the impact on the quality of players that you're able to bring in.
Boom. And Awar, you guys are linked to Awar. Look, Arsenal will never, ever, ever go back in for Awar. His agent messed up the deal. If you don't know, last minute, everything's done. They said, give us 12 million more. So it's like, we're not going to do that. So that's not going to happen. If you guys are going to get Awar, best of luck. I think he changes agent, so it's going to be a lot easier for you to get that deal done. Tielemans next to Partey in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 and transform into possession makes Arsenal better. Point blank, period. Okay. Definitely. I'm just here to ask the questions, answer. Do you have anything to talk about in regards to Arsenal and Leicester? Because I remember a couple of years ago, my guy, people were saying Leicester is going to replace Arsenal in the top 6.
The thing is, like, we've talked about this 1,000,001 times. It wasn't Leicester fans really saying this. It was Tottenham fans and other like Big Six fans saying it to wind you guys up. And after the Super League, like, you can talk to a lot of Leicester fans about it. Leicester really don't like the Big Six and don't want to be a part, sort of associated or part of it. So I know it's annoyed a lot of Arsenal fans and that, but it's other Big Six fans bantering you more than Leicester fans, if I'm honest. Like, I'd like to continue finishing in the top 6, don't get me wrong, but like this whole Big Six thing, I don't really care about it, I'll be honest.
Fair. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up there. Almost half an hour in. If you okay, so if I tell you, end of the transfer window comes, Arsenal gonna get Tielemans, or Arsenal gonna get Tielemans, what percentage would you put it on?
I'd say 40% you'll get Tielemans probably, because I think the fact that Tottenham are interested in him and there's that pull of Champions League football and playing under a top class manager in Conte, I still think he is more likely to go Tottenham, if I'm completely honest.
Ooh, you think Tottenham could hijack the deal from Arsenal?
I wouldn't even say it's hijacking, because you've both been interested for as long as each other. I think the Tottenham links actually probably came up before the Arsenal links. Because, I was saying before we went live, I'm sort of bored of talking about Tielemans is undoubtedly going to be leaving. But the Tottenham ones were the first ones that came up in around the same point as Conte being appointed.
You think it could happen?
Yeah.
Wow. Imagine we lose out Tielemans to Tottenham. That would set the fan base into meltdown. Literally, it would set the fan base into meltdown because we hate those lot. And if they did come in, oh man, set to fight it out. We're set to fight it out with. I think they seriously don't actually want the player. They just probably want to mess up the price for us. That would be smart on their end, just to mess up.
If that's the case, that's fine by me, because it means we'll get an extra couple of million. So
yeah, that's how it works. Also, how do you guys always sell your players for good prices? Like, you tend to usually sell your players for good prices. I'm shocked that Tielemans is only going for like 25, 30 million.
It's because we've never let a player get into this position before. Like with Maguire, he had 3 years left on his deal. We were told he signs a new deal or he's gone. Same with Chilwell. Mahrez, we waited until the fee came in that we wanted and then sold. It's like, the thing is, like, people still look at Leicester as like little Leicester sort of thing and like that club, but needed to sell players to keep going. We're now owned by like what I think the richest family in Thailand, and it's like we're not a poor club at all, and we don't have to sell to keep ourselves going, which is why we can hold on to players. And it's like if you don't, yeah, exactly. And it's like
Arsenal almost got Vardy, if you remember.
Vardy rejected you, didn't he? Because he didn't want. What was the quote? He said that Leicester wanted me when no one else did. Why would I ever turn my back on them or something like that? But which it's as well like Maddison as well. A few years ago, like if a club
apparently Arsene Wenger couldn't reassure him that he would be a starter also.
The thing is, from what I've heard, is he didn't even consider leaving because of the loyalty Leicester showed him. He wanted to repay it, but like Arsenal media will say it sort of in a way to make Arsenal look good. Leicester's will make it in a way to make Leicester look better. It's the way the media is. But with Maddison, like a few years ago when United were interested in him and he said he wanted to stay at Leicester, 10, 15 years ago, if a Leicester player's linked to like a big club, they've already packed their bags and are halfway down the motorway. Like, so the fact that we can sort of hold on to these players, it shows that we're definitely heading in the right direction. When you look at the infrastructure being built around the club, like,
what do you think about this? Super League will be back.
Yeah, but my thing is, the biggest thing with the Super League is the fact that it was a closed door tournament that sort of killed off any competition. That's the biggest problem with it, because I know for you guys, like, you want to be in the Champions League and that, but would you really want to be in the Champions League? Say if you finished 12th and you just got like put in it, like I think at that point it loses any sort of prestige or sort of any relevance. It should be sort of you earn your place in it.
No, facts. You have to somewhat get in there on merit. 100% agree. Big up to Naz, one of the members on the channel. You guys can become members, and also don't forget to hit that like button, guys. That we got 36 of you guys live. Hit that like button. About 25 likes right now. Really do appreciate everybody hitting that like button. Now, moving on from everything else, I was just gonna wrap it up there. Let people know where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, so Ants Leicester fan channel on YouTube. I do home and away match day vlogs. Started doing some transfer news over the last month or so getting into that side of it as well. Really enjoying doing that. And also I've got a stadium tour video coming out on Thursday around the King Power. So make sure to check that one out because it's quite different than a lot of stadiums in the Premier League on the inside. So it's definitely worth sort of having a look at that.
Boom. And this has been a breakdown video talking about the possible transfer for Tielemans to Arsenal. And Ants, thank you for coming on, discussing this transfer with us today. And everybody, go check out Ants' channel. On his the link is in the title of the video. You guys have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace out, guys.